Hi, welcome to the Old Timers Tennis Lessons. My name is Gillis and I'm the Old Timer. Today we're going to give you probably the most important lesson that I can in all this series. Okay, when we met in the first video where I introduced myself, and part of that video I guaranteed you that if you took some advice from me and took some tips, I could guarantee you that you would become a tennis player. And I think that's pretty rare, and I think a lot of people say, well, what does that mean? How are you going to guarantee? I've tried to play tennis for years and I can't do it. So I want to tell you a little story as to why you can do that, and I'm going to show you how it's done. I can guarantee that you can become a tennis player because when I was hired by the U.S. Air Force to run the tennis program up in the Boston area, okay, they asked me to do a study back in the mid-'80s as to why so many players were dropping out of tennis. They took lessons and then they just stopped playing, and they thought it was something maybe they could do to improve their program. So what I did was I called 10 area tennis clubs and I asked all the pros if I could come and meet with them and we could just discuss this little survey I was doing, and they all said sure. Actually, none of the pros at the time I knew. I had been coaching high school tennis at the time, so I was a little bit out of the club scene, so it was fun to meet some of the new fellas. And so I asked them if they about their backgrounds and what similarities they might have, and the reason for the survey was why so many people, about 90% of the people who take lessons, okay, drop out of tennis and quit playing. And so they said that when they were juniors, some of them had become tennis players because they played 7-8 hours a day. They became tennis junkies because after the Billie Jean match, okay, everybody was interested in tennis. Then there was Borg and McEnroe, and everybody was talking tennis, so they just fell in love with it. They were probably natural athletes, and so that they became tennis players. Then they also said that there were times that they took lessons when they were juniors. Their parents may have brought them to some group lessons, or they may have gone to a summer tennis club and got some lessons there, and they learned some skills. Okay. After that, the players were saying that there were a lot of times, though, that the reason why they were having trouble getting any better is because there's no one to play. Okay, there weren't enough people available. They had gone on summer vacations, this and that. So what they all did was they'd go out to a wall or a backboard or behind a gymnasium at a school or a department store, and they just hit balls off the wall. And next thing you know, they got really into hitting balls off the wall, and they learned how to control the ball, and they also learned how to be more consistent, okay? And eventually they realized that they were having so much fun doing this, okay, they really were learning the strokes that they thought they knew when they were playing with other people. So what the wall is, what's important about the wall here is that it's your first coach. It gives you the feedback. If you hit the ball over the wall, you have to aim lower. If you hit the ball below 3 feet over the up from the ground, okay, you have to aim higher. And if you can't hit forehands only, if you hit a forehand, then you have to run and hit a backhand, or if you run too far, you don't have any control. So what they found is that they were meeting their first coach, which was giving them the feedback that they needed, and they were meeting him for free. The second thing they had met is they met their first tennis partner, okay? So with this, they realized that I don't even need a partner to learn to play the game, and the basic game is learned with 4 strokes. The forehand, the backhand, the serve, and the volley. Now, it's interesting when people say, well, what is a forehand and a backhand? I never even played before, okay? Well, a forehand is all you have to do is, whatever handed you are, right or left, okay? Point your hand this way, and if you're swinging forward this way, okay, this is your forehand side if you're right-handed, okay? If you look at the back of your hand, okay, that's where the nickname the backhand came from, okay? If you're left-handed, okay, you just look as you swing forward, okay? This is the fore part of your hand, so you'll be hitting a forehand on this side. And if this is your backhand side, okay, this is where the backhand came from. If you move your hand forward, okay, there's your backhand side. So I asked them to rate, the 10 pros, I asked them to rate what made them a tennis player, okay? Was it lessons? Was it competitive play? Was it tournaments? Was it clubs? And what I found, and I happen to be actually the 11th in line to realize this, all 10 of them, and this is important, this is the key to my whole approach, all 10 pros said that the reason they became tennis players is because of hitting for an extended period of time off the backboard. They got their first coach. They got their first practice partner. It was available 24/7, and it was the solution to becoming a tennis player. You could play anytime, day or night. The problem they had when they were struggling to become tennis players is there was not availability of people. Everybody was on vacation, they were too busy, they were studying, and they didn't have enough phone numbers, so the list was so small they ended up wanting to play tennis, but they couldn't, and eventually people just like them would give up. But they found the wall, they found the backboard, and they become tennis players, and they make a living playing tennis now. What I recommend is that you find any wall behind a department store like this one here in my neighborhood, okay? And all you need to become a tennis player is you need a racket, and I recommend that you go out and buy a Nerf ball. A Nerf ball is just a squeezable soft ball that makes no sound, okay? It's not dangerous, okay? And so you're not going to bother anybody, and you can learn all the strokes. When you're learning the strokes, you're going to have to learn to practice on the wall in two stages. As a beginner, you basically want to learn how to hit the ball after one bounce, and that's called patty cake tennis, okay? And you want to hit up to 20 in a row. You're still not a tennis player when you can do that because it's a little artificial, okay? But one bounce, hit the ball, forehands only, and you'd be playing tennis, okay? Then you go to your backhand side, and when you can do 20 in a row, you now can play patty cake tennis, and you're on your way to becoming a recreational player. The next thing is with the volley. I'd say all beginners, almost all intermediates, and a lot of competitive players, okay, can't hit a volley. They can hit a high forehand volley, but as most instructors would tell you, if they were being honest, that on your first day anyone can hit a high forehand volley with an Eastern forehand grip. But what they can't hit is they can't hit a low forehand volley, they can't hit a low backhand volley, and they can't hit a regular backhand volley at all. And anybody who's watching the pros who can hit the ball so nice, you got to remember where they learn to hit those volleys, okay? And I'll show you. You learn the volley as the backhand first, not the forehand, which is the power stroke, which every beginner can do. You learn how to hit a backhand volley